I always thought betrayal had a taste. Bitter, metallic, like something rotting behind a closed door. But I was wrong. Betrayal doesn't taste like anything. It feels like your lungs suddenly forget how to breathe when you find your child collapsed on a cold floor while the people you trusted most are smiling 20 feet away. My name is Emily Carter. I'm 34, a senior project manager at a tech firm in Chicago, mother to an 8-year-old boy named Noah, and wife to a man I once believed was the safest place on earth, Daniel. This is the story of how, in one night, I lost my trust in him, my faith in my company, and the version of myself that spent years pretending everything was fine, and how I took everything back. The night of the company's annual gala was supposed to be simple. I'd show up, smile, shake hands. Let the executives pretend they knew my name, then go home and tuck Noah into bed like always. But because Daniel insisted, and because my boss, Laura Davenport, practically begged me to bring a touch of wholesome family energy, I brought Noah with me. Just stay for an hour, I told him while fixing his collar. After that, we'll grab ice cream. He grinned, wide and bright, the kind of grin that makes motherhood feel like the best job in the world. At the party, everything felt tense. The kind of tension people pretend is champagne-fueled excitement, but anyone who's worked in corporate life knows better. Laura was stressed, eyes darting, phone buzzing every 10 seconds. Daniel was strangely quiet and distant, like his mind was somewhere else entirely. I brushed it off. I always brushed things off. Corporate stress, marriage stress, life stress. All the kinds of stress women tell themselves are normal. For a while, it was fine. Noah munched on mini burgers, danced awkwardly between tables, and charmed every woman within 10 feet. But then the room shifted. Noah tugged my sleeve. "Mom, my head feels fuzzy." I knelt down. "Too loud in here. Need some air?" He nodded, rubbing his eyes. I took his hand. "I'll bring him outside for a bit," I told Daniel. Daniel barely looked up. "Yeah, sure." We only made it halfway across the hall. One moment Noah was squeezing my hand, the next, his fingers slipped away. He staggered, wobbled, then collapsed, right there on the glossy black marble floor. "Noah!" My voice tore out of my chest. Guests gasped. Someone dropped a drink. I fell to my knees, shaking him, calling his name over and over. His breathing was shallow, too shallow. "Help, someone call a medic," I screamed. Before anyone could move, a voice cut through the chaos. "I'm already here." A man pushed through the crowd, his jacket identifying him as part of the venue's emergency team. Short brown hair, steady eyes. Calm expression. "I'm Evan, the on-site medic. Step back a little, ma'am, I've got him." I didn't want to move, couldn't move, but I forced myself to inch away so he could check Noah. He pulled a small penlight from his pocket, checking Noah's pupils. His forehead creased. "This isn't dehydration," he murmured. "And it's not a simple fainting episode." My heart hammered. "What does that mean? What's wrong with him?" He hesitated, a hesitation that felt like a knife sliding between my ribs. Then he leaned closer and whispered. "His symptoms look like exposure to a specific substance, one I've seen before in cases involving—" He cut himself off. "Involving what?" I demanded. Before he could answer, Laura appeared, her smile too bright, her voice too cheerful. "Emily, is everything okay? We don't want to disrupt the event too much." I stared at her. My son was unconscious on the floor, and her concern was for the event. Evan's jaw tightened. "We need to talk somewhere private," he whispered. "Now." That was the moment, the first moment, I realized something was terribly, horribly off. Evan helped Noah onto a stretcher and signaled 2 staff members to move him to a quiet room behind the main hall. I walked beside them, gripping Noah's hand the entire time. When we reached the small medical room, Evan finally spoke. "Emily, has your son eaten or drunk anything unusual tonight?" "Just the mini burgers and juice." "Why?" He exhaled slowly. "I'm not jumping to conclusions yet, but there's a pattern. His symptoms match cases where a certain sedative is involved, one commonly misused in corporate environments." Corporate, my stomach twisted. "What are you saying? Someone drugged him? He's a child." "I'm saying something isn't right, and I need to show you something." He reached into his pocket and pulled out a tiny plastic wrapper. "This was stuck to the inside of your son's sleeve." My blood ran cold. "What is that?" "A dissolvable strip, odorless, tasteless, works fast." His eyes hardened. "Emily, this wasn't an accident." My knees nearly buckled. Why would anyone do that to Noah?" "I don't know," he said, "but whoever slipped it had to be close enough to touch him." A chill crawled up my spine. Close enough to touch him. At the party, only 3 people had been that close, me, Daniel and Laura. Before I could respond, the door swung open. Daniel, pale face, wide eyes, not with fear, with guilt. "Emily. Can I talk to you, just for a second?" I stared at him. "Not now, our son is unconscious." "I know, but I need to explain something." That tone, I'd never heard that tone. A confession tone. Evan stepped in front of me, protective. She's not going anywhere. Daniel looked annoyed. I wasn't talking to you. Daniel, I raised a shaking hand. What did you do? He froze. Emily, it's not, I didn't, it wasn't supposed to be him. The world tilted. What did you just say? He looked away. I can explain, just come outside. She's not leaving, Evan snapped. Daniel's eyes flicked toward the wrapper in Evan's hand and something shattered in his expression. Recognition. Involuntary, immediate, like he'd seen it before, like he knew exactly what it was. My heart cracked open. Daniel, what have you done? He didn't answer. He just backed out of the room and walked away. I watched my husband walk away from me and from our unconscious son, and something inside me broke. 5 minutes later, the door opened again. Laura, her tone soft, too soft, fake, sweet, syrupy. Oh, Emily, I heard your little boy fainted. Kids get overwhelmed so easily. I stared at her. My son didn't faint, someone drugged him. The color drained from her face, then she forced a smile. That's a very serious accusation. It's not an accusation, Evan said coldly. It's an observation. Laura's expression tightened for a split second, then she smoothed it away. Well, I just wanted to check on you. Health comes first. She turned too fast, too rehearsed, too careful. Something was wrong. Something was deeply, dangerously wrong. Evan placed a gentle hand on my shoulder. Emily, whatever's happening, we're going to figure it out. I nodded, even as my world collapsed. Because in that moment, I made a silent promise. Whoever did this, I would expose them, destroy them, and make sure they never hurt Noah or anyone ever again. Noah's breathing finally steadied after what felt like hours, though it had probably been less than 10 minutes. Evan monitored him closely, adjusting equipment, checking his vitals, jotting down numbers that made no sense to me but clearly worried him. I sat beside the cot, holding Noah's small hand in both of mine. My fingers trembled against his warm skin. I kept whispering his name, as if saying it enough times would bring him back to full consciousness. He didn't wake. Not yet. And every second he didn't made a new fear bloom in my chest. Evan gave me a soft look, professional but warm. He's stabilizing, that's good. Whatever he was exposed to, it was fast acting but not in a dangerous dose. Whoever did this didn't want to cause lasting harm, they just wanted him incapacitated. His jaw clenched. Or they meant to target someone else and he got in the way. Those words hollowed me out. Not him, then who? I whispered. Evan studied me. You work closely with the CEO, right? Yes. And your husband is connected to the company too? Yes, he consults for us part-time. He exhaled slowly. That means someone could have wanted access to you, or someone close to you. I froze. Someone close to me, someone with a reason, someone like I shook my head. I wasn't ready to go there, not yet. But a terrible instinct told me the truth. This wasn't about Noah. This was about me. A soft knock on the door startled me. Evan moved to open it, but I grabbed his arm. Don't, I whispered. Not unless you know who it is. He nodded and glanced through the small window. It's your husband again. My stomach twisted. The last thing I wanted was to see Daniel, but Noah deserved answers and I deserved the truth. Let him in, I said. Daniel stepped inside, closing the door quickly behind him. He looked around as if checking for hidden cameras, then approached me with an urgency that made my skin crawl. Emily. I didn't do this, I swear. I didn't touch Noah. I would never hurt him. But you said it wasn't supposed to be him. I shot back. He paled. I didn't mean you misheard. Daniel, my voice sharpened. Look at me. His eyes finally met mine, tired, bloodshot, guilty. What do you know? He opened his mouth, closed it, ran a shaking hand through his hair. I can't talk here. You're going to talk, now. His voice dropped to a desperate whisper. I'm in trouble, Emily. The kind of trouble you can't fix, the kind that ruins lives. My pulse hammered. What trouble? He looked at Evan as if asking permission. You can speak freely, Evan said quietly. Anything that helps us protect the kid. Daniel swallowed. There's been tension in the company, pressure. Some contracts I was helping oversee, things went wrong. Laura's been furious. She said if I didn't fix it, she'd make sure we both paid. I flinched. Both. What does that mean? Means, he whispered, she threatened to fire you and drag your reputation through the mud. She said she'd destroy our financial life. I stared at him. And you believe she could do that? He nodded. She's powerful, Em, you know she is. My throat tightened. And her solution was, what, drugging our son? I don't know, he snapped, panicking. But she's been pushing me, calling me at all hours, demanding I do whatever it takes to protect the company. And she said one more mistake and he stopped. And I pushed, and she said she'd take something precious if I failed again. My heart dropped, take something precious. My son was lying unconscious 2 feet away. Daniel, did you tell her anything about Noah, about me? His face crumpled. I told her you were overwhelmed lately, that you weren't sleeping, that maybe you were slipping at work. I never thought she'd use that against you. I closed my eyes. Daniel was unraveling, scared, broken, but guilt and fear weren't proof of innocence. Why did you walk away earlier? I whispered. His expression cracked, because I recognized the rapper. He froze too late. I stood so fast the chair scraped across the floor. You what? He took a shaky breath. I used to work a security job before I met you. I've seen those strips used to get people to sign things they wouldn't normally sign, or to make someone appear intoxicated in a crowd. My voice trembled with fury. And you didn't think that detail was relevant until now? I panicked. He said helplessly, I knew how it looked, I knew what you'd think. But Emily, I swear I didn't do this. I stepped back from him. I didn't want to hear anymore. He noticed the distance forming between us. Fear flooded his eyes. Emily, please, believe me, I'm being set up. By who? Evan asked sharply. Daniel's eyes flicked toward the door. By Laura. Before I could respond, the door swung open, louder this time. Evan tensed, stepping slightly in front of me. Laura walked in like she owned the oxygen in the room. Her heels clicked sharply. Her eyes scanned Noah, then me, then Daniel. Her smile was unnerving. Emily, she said softly, a word? No, I snapped. Anything you have to say, you can say here. Her smile didn't falter. Very well, she folded her arms. What happened to your boy is unfortunate, truly, but let's not overreact. Kids faint. He didn't faint, I said coldly. He was drugged. Those are dangerous words. Dangerous for who? Evan challenged. Careful, she said without even looking at him. This is a corporate matter. My son is not a corporate matter. Oh, Emily, she sighed, stepping closer, her voice dripping with condescension. You're emotional, I get it, but you need to calm down. You wouldn't want people thinking you're unstable. The way she said it, slow, sharp, deadly, it wasn't a warning. It was a threat. Daniel finally snapped. Laura, leave her alone. She turned her gaze on him. Daniel. What a shame. You had such potential, such loyalty, and now look at you, melting down in a medical room. He stiffened. What do you want from us? I demanded. Her eyes glittered. Cooperation. My stomach twisted. What kind of cooperation? The kind that keeps all of us safe. The kind that ensures this little incident doesn't become public, or worse, blow back on your family. Her meaning was unmistakable. She wanted silence, compliance, control. And she wasn't above using my child to secure it. Evan stepped forward. You're done here, leave the room. Laura didn't even look at him. She kept her eyes locked on me. Emily, you know how fast reputations fall. You're smart, you'll make the right choice. She turned to leave, then added without turning around, remember, people lose everything because of misunderstandings. Jobs, homes, custody. Custody. The word sliced through me like a blade. The door closed. Silence filled the room. Cold. Sharp. Crushing, Evan spoke first. You need to get your son away from here. Now, Daniel nodded quickly. She's spiraling. She's been unstable for weeks. Emily, she's capable of anything. I took Noah's hand. My voice was barely a whisper. I know. And in that moment, a terrifying clarity washed over me. Laura had threatened my job, my reputation, my entire life. Now she was threatening my son, and Daniel. Maybe he hadn't drugged Noah, but he had opened the door, feeding Laura information, letting her manipulate him, letting her into our lives, hiding things from me. They both betrayed me, one emotionally, one professionally. One endangered my child, and I knew I wasn't letting either of them walk away unscathed. Evan and I worked quickly. He helped me lift Noah into my arms. I'll walk you out through the back exit, he said. Less chance of running into anyone. Daniel tried to follow. No, I told him. He froze. Emily, please don't shut me out. My voice didn't break. I didn't shake. I was past shaking. You can come see Noah tomorrow after I figure out the truth. And me, he whispered. I didn't answer, because I didn't know. He reached out as if to touch me, then slowly lowered his hand. Please be careful. I turned away. And for the first time in our marriage, I didn't feel his absence. I felt my own strength. Evan guided me through the dim hallway, down a service corridor, and out into the cool night. The air hit my face, sharp and freezing. I held Noah closer. Evan looked at me with worry and determination. Emily, this wasn't random. Someone close to you wants control. Tonight was a warning. I nodded. I know. What are you going to do? I looked at my son's sleeping face. So innocent, so trusting. And in that moment, everything changed. I'm going to take them both down, I said. My husband. My boss, anyone who had a hand in this. Evan's eyes widened slightly, impressed, not afraid. Then you're going to need help. Can you help me? He nodded slowly. I can, and I will. Evan helped me buckle Noah into the backseat of my car. His breathing had returned to normal, and a soft sigh escaped him as his head tilted toward the window. He still hadn't woken up, but he looked peaceful, safe. I needed that. I needed to see peace on at least one face in my life. Evan checked Noah's pulse one more time. Satisfied, he stepped back. "He's okay for the night," he said softly. "Just watch him, keep him close, don't leave him alone until he fully wakes." I nodded, gripping the door edge like it was the only thing keeping me upright. Evan's voice softened even more. "Emily, you're not crazy. Everything you're sensing, trust it." A lump formed in my throat. I don't know who I can trust anymore. "You can trust me." I believed him, or maybe. I just needed to believe someone. He handed me a small card. "My direct number. Call if anything, and I mean anything happens." "Thank you," I whispered. He gave a small, protective nod. "You're not alone, Emily, not anymore." With that, he closed the car door gently, as if sealing Noah safely inside. As I pulled away, I saw him watching the car go, hands in his pockets, jaw tight, eyes worried. Evan knew something. And deep down, I sensed he cared more than just medically. But I pushed the thought away. Tonight wasn't about feelings. Tonight was about survival. The highway was nearly empty. City lights blurred into streaks across the windshield. My mind raced faster than the car. Daniel had been lying for months. Laura was capable of anything. Someone drugged my son. Someone threatened my custody. Someone thought they could break me. They didn't know me at all. Every betrayal leaves a trail. Every liar leaves crumbs. Every scheme has a weak point. And I was going to find every single one, but this wasn't just a company problem anymore. This wasn't just a marriage problem. This was a war. The more I thought about Daniel's words, the more they twisted, reshaped, and pointed towards something larger. Laura said she'd take something precious. I messed up on contracts. She threatened you. She threatened our life. She pressured me to cover things. It wasn't random. It was connected. Laura had her hands deep in something illegal, unethical, or both, something Daniel helped with, willingly or not. And when he couldn't keep up the lies, she targeted me, because I was the real threat. I just hadn't realized it yet. I carried Noah inside, holding him close against me. He lightly stirred when the cold air touched his face but didn't wake. His arms instinctively wrapped around my neck, mother-child muscle memory. I laid him on the couch, covered him with a blanket, and sat beside him. Suddenly, the entire house felt different. Heavy, foreign, like someone had been inside it while I was gone. I scanned the living room. Nothing moved, nothing out of place. Still, I felt watched. I locked every window, every door, then checked every room twice. Only after I triple-checked the house did I slide down the hallway wall, exhaustion crashing over me. My hands trembled. My breath shook. I buried my face in my knees and cried silently. Not because I was weak, but because tomorrow I couldn't afford to be. Around 3 a.m., Noah stirred. I jolted up, rushing to him. His eyelids fluttered, then opened. He blinked up at me, disoriented and confused. "Mom," his voice cracked. My heart nearly shattered. "Hey, sweetheart, I'm right here, I'm right here." He looked around slowly. "Where are we? What happened? Why does my head hurt?" I brushed his hair gently. "You fainted at the party." "You're safe now?" He frowned. "No, I didn't faint." My heart stopped. "What do you mean?" He swallowed. "I remember someone calling my name, a woman's voice. I thought it was you at first, but it was." A cold wave washed through me. "A woman, what did she say?" "She said, 'Come here, I want to show you something.'" My skin crawled. "And then?" He closed his eyes, trying to remember. "I followed her into a hallway. She said we needed to go somewhere quiet, and when I turned around to ask why, she put something on my neck, something wet." My stomach twisted. He inhaled sharply. "It smelled weird, like chemicals, then my legs felt funny, and I remember falling, that's it." I pulled him into my arms. "It's okay, you're safe, baby, you're safe." But my mind spun violently. A woman, unknown, unseen, and she knew Noah's name, which meant she had access. Knowledge, opportunity, this wasn't random. This was orchestrated, and it wasn't just Laura, she didn't get her hands dirty. She made others do it for her. Someone inside the company helped, someone who knew me personally, someone who kept tabs, someone who wanted me silenced, distracted, or destroyed. That was the moment the picture sharpened. The sabotage at work, the rumors about me, the accidental deleted files, the missing reports, the HR complaints with no signatures, the whispers behind my back. This wasn't a new problem. It had been happening for months, and I had been too busy, too trusting to see it. Noah soon fell asleep again, the exhaustion dragging him under. I checked his heartbeat, kissed his forehead, then went to my home office. I opened my laptop. All the files I'd been documenting, the strange activity at work, the inconsistencies in the contracts Daniel mentioned, the missing records, the late-night emails from Laura, I had saved copies. I always saved copies. My father used to say, "Never let someone else own the truth." Now, those saved copies were my only power. I opened each folder, scanning every file, every timestamp. Then I saw something that made my blood freeze. A file modification timestamp from earlier that night. Project Raven Audit Notes Confidential. The document had been opened. Edited. Ray saved. Not by me. I clicked the history log, and my entire world shifted. The last person to access the document, Daniel, 45 minutes before the party. My breath caught. Why was my husband accessing confidential files? Why was he editing audit notes? Why was he sneaking into my documents? I clicked deeper. Comments, hidden notes, metadata, there it was. Laura, final changes made, Emily's copy overwrit. DM Daniel's initials. My husband had been helping cover up something Laura wanted hidden, and he used my computer, my access, my reputation. And when I was close to discovering the truth, they tried to confuse me, overwhelm me, distract me, rattle me. No wonder my year had been hell. They had been sabotaging me from every angle. But the darkest realization hit like a punch. If I had discovered their scheme before the party, I'm the one who would have been drugged, not Noah. My hands shook violently. I gripped the desk to steady myself. I tried to breathe, in, out, again. Then I whispered, "He protected Laura and they used my son to scare me." That was the line Daniel had crossed, and now I had evidence. At 4:12 a.m., my phone buzzed violently on the table. "Unknown number," I answered cautiously. "Hello," silence, then a soft, trembling voice, "Emily, it's Jenna." My breath stilled. Jenna, quiet, skittish, always watching, always afraid. "Jenna, why are you calling? You need to get out, you need to protect your son. Laura, she's not done." A cold wave washed over me. "What are you talking about?" "I can't say over the phone, she'll know." "She'll know what?" Silence, then. "She knows everything, Emily, everything, your schedules, your passwords, your habits. Daniel gave her access to your files. He thought she'd help him, but she used him and you." My throat constricted. "You knew?" "I didn't know about Noah, I swear. I didn't know she'd go after him, but she threatened me too. She said if I didn't help, she'd destroy me." "What did she want help with?" "Covering things, preparing documents, replacing files. She's been planning this for months. She wants you out of the company, out of the role. She wants your projects. And she wants Daniel tied to her, not you." My stomach dropped. "What does Daniel have to do with this?" A long pause, a painful one. Then, "Daniel is in love with her." The world blurred. My chest tightened. Everything inside me twisted. Jenna whispered one more devastating truth, and Laura promised him a future if he helped her replace you. The phone nearly slipped from my hand. Daniel in love with Laura? No, no, no. I wanted to reject it instantly, violently. Daniel was weak. Daniel was scared. Daniel was a terrible liar. But an affair with her? My pulse pounded against my skull. "Jenna, you need to tell me everything now." Her breath trembled through the speaker. "Laura wants to replace you. She's been grooming Daniel for months. Private meetings, late-night calls, trips. She promised him a promotion, his own division, if he helped her undermine you." A hot wave of nausea rolled through my stomach. It made sense. It made too much sense. The secrecy, the excuses, the long hours. The quiet guilt in his eyes, the way he panicked tonight, the way he protected her even when our son was lying unconscious. He wasn't just afraid of her, he was devoted to her. I pressed my fingers into my forehead. "Jenna, how long?" A tiny broken whisper came through the phone. "Almost a year. A year of lies. A year of smiling at me while sneaking to her office. A year of letting Laura tear my reputation apart from the inside just to get closer to her. A year of pretending our marriage mattered. The betrayal wrapped around my ribs like barbed wire. I forced myself to breathe. "Jenna, did Daniel know Laura was going to drug me?" Silence. A painful, stretching silence. Then, "I think he knew she was planning something. Not what, not who, but he knew she needed to remove you." "Remove me? Why didn't he warn me?" I whispered. Her answer was a whisper too. "Because he believed her when she said you'd bounce back. And he didn't want to lose what she promised him." My heart cracked, not shattered, cracked. A clean, sharp split down the center. I closed my eyes. I saw Daniel's face, his guilt, his fear, his frantic excuses. None of them were for me, all of them were for himself. "Where are you right now?" I asked Jenna gently. "At home," she whispered. "But there's more. I left something for you. I couldn't give it to Laura. I couldn't. It's too much. It's in my drawer at work. Blue folder, top right. My name on it?" "What is it?" Again that trembling breath. "Proof of everything." Then the line went dead. I stared at my phone, cold panic and burning fury twisting inside me. Proof, sabotage, affair, conspiracy, threats, drugging my child. They thought I would run, hide, break. They had no idea who I was. Noah stirred lightly again, rolling to the other side of the couch. I brushed his hair off his forehead. His skin was warm, his breathing steady. They touched my son. That was the last mistake they would ever make. I didn't sleep. Couldn't. At sunrise, I got Noah dressed, brushed his hair, packed his school bag, and then paused. He looked up at me, sleepy and innocent. "Am I going to school today?" "No, sweetheart," I said softly. "You're staying with someone who's going to take very good care of you." "Why? Did I do something wrong?" My chest tightened. "No, you didn't do anything wrong. Mommy just needs to take care of something important. Something dangerous. Something that could destroy us or save us." I drove straight to Evan's clinic. He opened the door before I even knocked, like he had been waiting. "Emily, come in." I guided Noah inside. Evan knelt down to Noah's level. "Hey, buddy, you feeling better?" Noah nodded shyly. "Good, how would you like to hang out with me today? We've got snacks, games, and you can help me with some important stuff." Noah smiled, a small, tired, sweet smile. "Okay." Evan glanced up at me, eyes gentle. "I'll keep him safe." "Promise?" I nodded, my throat thick. "I know." My hand lingered on Noah's head. His eyes brightened when he saw the little toy Evan handed him. "Mommy will be back soon," I whispered against his hair. "Okay," he murmured. I kissed his forehead one more time, then stood beside Evan at the door. "You're really doing this," he said quietly. "I am." "What's the plan?" I swallowed. "Step 1, I get the proof. Step 2, I looked toward the parking lot. Step 2, I take them down." Evan's jaw tightened. He respected that. Part of him even admired it. "Be careful," he said. "They're not playing games." "Neither am I." I turned to leave. Then Evan grabbed my wrist, not hard, just enough to make me look back. "Emily, if you need backup, call me, no matter what." I nodded once. Then I walked out, the morning air crisp and cold against my face. My hands tightened on the steering wheel as I started the engine. This wasn't just about betrayal anymore. This wasn't about a broken marriage. Or a toxic boss, or revenge. This was about reclaiming my life, my career, my dignity, my son's safety. And as I drove toward the office, toward the blue folder Jenna said would change everything, one truth repeated over and over in my mind: they started a war, and I was going to finish it. I parked one street away from the office, not because I was afraid, because I wanted to see who was watching. Paranoia wasn't paranoia when people actually were out to get you. The building looked normal from the outside, employees walking in with coffee, talking about weekend plans, laughing like nothing dark was happening behind those glass doors. But I knew better. Behind that polished corporate shine, people plotted, manipulated, and covered their tracks. And today I was walking straight into the center of it. I slipped through the side entrance using my badge. No one stopped me. No one questioned me. That almost made it worse. Silence meant they thought they had already won. Laura's office was on the top floor. Daniel usually worked 2 doors down. Jenna's desk sat outside both their rooms like a scared little gatekeeper forced to guard secrets bigger than she ever wanted. I reached the 3rd floor and paused near the elevator. I scanned the hallway. Quiet, too quiet. I moved quickly, head down, heart steady, not weak. The first familiar sight was Jenna's desk. Her chair was pushed back slightly, as if she had left in a hurry. A cold coffee cup. A broken pen. A trembling sticky note with 3 words: "I'm so sorry." My stomach clenched. I opened her drawer carefully. Papers, files, sticky notes, then a blue folder, top right corner, exactly where she said. My hands shook as I pulled it out and opened it. Inside were printed contracts, screenshots of emails, company memos, audit logs, altered timestamps, financial discrepancies, deleted file notices, payroll anomalies, red-lined documents with Laura's handwriting, signed approvals by Daniel. And at the very bottom, a photo, taken from behind a slightly open door. Laura and Daniel, alone, close, her hand on his chest, his forehead leaning against hers, her lips almost touching his. I felt something inside me hollow out, the air froze in my lungs, my fingers went numb, my vision tunneled. It wasn't speculation. It wasn't rumor. It wasn't Jenna's fear-trembling theory. They were lovers, partners, co-conspirators. Everything, every lie, every late night, every sharp word, every distant stare, snapped into place like a puzzle I'd been too exhausted to solve. I slid the photo back inside the folder and held the stack to my chest. Then I turned and stopped. Laura was standing at the end of the hallway, watching me. Her arms were crossed, her chin lifted in mock surprise, her smile razor thin. "Well," she said softly, "that didn't take long." My heart thudded. "What do you want?" She walked toward me slowly, heels clicking like a countdown. "What I've always wanted, Emily, for you to know your place." She stopped only inches away from me. Her perfume was suffocating, something sharp, expensive, predatory. "Put the folder back," she whispered. "No," her smile widened. "Emily, you are exhausted, emotional, unstable. If you walk into HR with that folder, do you know what they'll say? She leaned closer. They'll say you fabricated it. That's not going to work anymore. Oh, sweetheart, it already has. She brushed imaginary dust off my sleeve like she owned me. You've been slipping for months, your performance reports are terrible, your staff has complained, your projects are failing. Daniel told me everything. My blood boiled. You mean the lies you told him to repeat? Her jaw ticked. I hit a nerve. Good. Give me the folder, she said again, voice sharpening. And what? You'll destroy the evidence like you destroyed everything else? She gave a soft laugh. You think this is about evidence? This is about control. I control your reputation, I control your department, I control your husband, I control everything you care about. Not my son, I said, voice low. Her smile vanished. Then she said something that chilled every bone in my body. Children are leverage, Emily, nothing more. My hand tightened on the folder so hard it creased the edges. You touched my son, you drugged him. She tilted her head, amused. Prove it. I stepped closer. Sick, she waved a dismissive hand. No, I'm ambitious. You were in my way, emotionally unstable, too sentimental, too soft. This company needs power, I need power. And Daniel needs me, not you. There it was, her real truth, ugly and naked. I breathed in slowly. You know what, Laura, you're right, I am sentimental, I do care, but you made one mistake. She raised an eyebrow. And what's that? You underestimated the wrong woman. Before she could react, I walked past her, not running. Not afraid, just done with her. She turned sharply. Emily, I didn't look back. Emily, if you walk out with that folder, you're finished, I will ruin you. I held the folder tighter and kept walking. She shouted again, voice breaking with rage. Do you hear me? I will take everything. I stopped at the elevator, turned just enough for her to see my face. And I said, try. The elevator doors closed between us. For the first time in months, I felt powerful. But as it descended, I noticed my reflection in the glass. There was someone behind me. I spun around, Daniel. He stood in the far corner of the elevator, head lowered, hands clenched, my stomach twisted. How long have you been standing there? I whispered. He didn't answer. But he lifted his eyes, and the look in them, it wasn't guilt, it wasn't fear, it was possession. Emily, he said quietly, we need to talk. My blood ran cold. The elevator kept descending, floor by floor. Trapping us together, the elevator hummed quietly as Daniel stared at me too calmly, too intently. The air felt wrong, heavy, pressurized. He stepped closer, and the hairs on my arms stood up. Emily, he repeated softly, you shouldn't have taken that folder. I held it tighter. You shouldn't have touched my files, I said. His jaw tightened. I did what I had to do. To protect who? I asked. Your family or Laura? A flicker, guilt, anger, something darker, crossed his face. You don't understand, he whispered. She had leverage, she had power. If I didn't help, if I didn't cooperate, we would have lost everything. We did lose everything, I shot back. You gave her access to my accounts. You let her sabotage me. You let her threaten our son. His voice snapped. I didn't know she'd go that far. But you knew she was planning to hurt someone, and you still chose her. He looked away, not because he was ashamed, but because he didn't like the truth. When the elevator reached the lobby, I stepped forward. Daniel moved to block me. Emily, you can't go to HR with that. You can't go to the board. You can't go to the police. And why? I asked quietly. Do you think you get to tell me what I can't do? He exhaled sharply, frustrated. Because you're emotional, you're not thinking clearly, you're making things worse. Worse for who? He looked up, finally meeting my eyes, and what I saw there wasn't love. It wasn't fear. It wasn't regret. Desperation. Emily, he whispered, Laura loves me. The words hit like a slap. My throat tightened, but I refused to show it. And what about me? I asked. He hesitated, and that hesitation was the answer. I stepped past him. He grabbed my arm, not gently. Emily, listen to me. I yanked my arm back. Let go. Emily, let go. His hand dropped, but something in his expression shifted. A new edge, something unhinged. Do you think you can take her down? He whispered. Do you think you can win this? I didn't answer. He leaned in, voice low and venomous. She promised me a future, a real future. If you ruin her, you ruin me. Do you understand that? You ruined yourself, I said. His eyes darkened. If you walk out of here with that folder, she won't be the only one coming after you. I froze. Is that a threat? I asked. He didn't blink. It's a warning. The elevator dinged open. I stepped out. Daniel didn't follow, but his voice echoed behind me. You're not strong enough to do this alone. I didn't turn around. Watch me. I walked through the lobby, past the security guard, past the revolving doors, out into the cold morning air. But the moment I stepped onto the sidewalk, a black car pulled up. My heart stopped. The back window lowered, Laura sat inside. Calm, composed, smiling. She gestured to the empty seat beside her. Get in. I shook my head. No. Her smile didn't fade. I wasn't asking. The rear door unlocked with a soft click. The locks inside the car glowed red, child safety mode. If I stepped inside, the door wouldn't open again. Leave before I call the police, I said. She tilted her head. Oh, sweetheart, you won't call the police. You can't, because if you do, she paused, letting the silence thicken. Everything in that little folder becomes public. I narrowed my eyes. That folder exposes you, she smiled wider. It also exposes Daniel, and your marriage. And your son being drugged at a corporate event. Think Emily, think about custody courts, think about public perception, think about what a stressed, unstable mother looks like to the world. My stomach twisted. She was trying to corner me mentally, emotionally, just like she always did, but I wasn't the same woman anymore. I stepped closer so she could see the fire in my eyes. You're terrified, I said quietly. The smile twitched. You know I'm going to bring this to the board. Her jaw shifted. You know I'm going to expose everything. Her fingers tightened on the leather seat. And you know, I whispered, that the moment they see what you did, your career is over. Laura leaned forward, her voice sharp as glass. Emily, if you take this any further, I promise you your life will burn to the ground. I lifted the folder. Then let's burn together. I turned away from the car. Emily, Laura barked, but I didn't stop, didn't look back, didn't hesitate. I walked straight to my car, locked the doors, and drove. My fingers trembled on the wheel, but my mind had never felt clearer. I didn't go home. I didn't go to HR. I didn't go to the board. I went exactly where they wouldn't expect me to, the police station. I parked outside but didn't go in, not yet. I opened the folder in the passenger seat. Page by page, I sorted, organized, labeled, and prepared everything. If I walked in unprepared, Laura could twist the narrative. If I walked in calm and strategic, she had no power. 10 minutes later, I stepped out of the car, folder in my hand, and walked toward the glass doors. Another car screeched into the lot. I spun around, Daniel. He jumped out, frantic. Emily, stop. I didn't. He ran toward me. Emily, you can't go in there. If you do, it's over. Everything is over. I kept walking. He grabbed my arm again, harder than before. Listen to Emmy. I turned sharply, ripping my arm out of his grip. You lost the right to tell me anything. He exhaled shakily, eyes wild, desperate, pleading. Emily, I never meant for you to get hurt. I swear, I never meant for Noah to get hurt. I thought Laura was bluffing. I thought... He broke down mid-sentence, hands shaking, voice cracking. I thought she loved me. My chest tightened, but I didn't let myself soften. She doesn't love you, I said quietly. She used you, he flinched. I know, he whispered. But if you go in there, she'll destroy me. And if I don't, I said, she'll destroy me. His face fell. I stepped back from him. Daniel, I'm protecting my son, and nothing you say will stop me. He reached toward me again. I'm begging you, I raised my hand. Don't. Slowly, painfully, he lowered his. I walked toward the station again. Daniel didn't follow. He just watched me, broken, defeated, whispering, She'll come after you. She'll come after all of us. I stopped at the door. I'm counting on it. And then I stepped inside. The police station lobby was quiet, too quiet for the storm inside my chest. A receptionist looked up from her computer. Can I help you? I swallowed hard, tightened my grip on the blue folder, and said, I need to report a crime. Several crimes. Her eyes softened. Come with me. She led me to a small interview room with beige walls and a humming fluorescent light that flickered like it was nervous for me. A detective entered, a woman with sharp eyes and a calm voice. I'm Detective Harris. What's going on? I set the folder on the table. My son was drugged at a corporate event. Her expression changed immediately, and I have proof of who orchestrated it. She sat across from me, posture straightening. Start from the beginning. So I told her everything, every detail, every lie, every threat. Every betrayal. I showed her the altered contracts, the emails, the timestamps, the payroll fraud, the internal sabotage. I slid the photo of Daniel and Laura toward her, my hands steady for the first time in days. Detective Harris exhaled slowly. This isn't just internal corruption. This suggests blackmail, coercion, possibly conspiracy. She flipped through documents with growing intensity. Emily, this is enough to open a full investigation. My breath shook, relief and terror mixing like ice water in my lungs. What happens now? I asked. We start with questioning, we freeze accounts, we pull surveillance footage. We issue protective protocols. She looked at me directly, and I advise you not to go home for a few days. My heart pounded. Why? Because if these people did what you say, they won't let you walk away quietly. I nodded. I know. She placed a firm hand on my folder. You did the right thing bringing this here. For the first time since Noah collapsed on that cold ballroom floor, I felt safe. Not free, not healed, but safe. Detective Harris stood. I'll need a full formal statement. It may take a while. I'm ready. As she prepared the paperwork, my phone buzzed. At first I ignored it. Buzz, buzz, buzz. When I finally checked, my blood ran cold. 50 missed calls, all from Daniel, and one text message from an unknown number, "You shouldn't have done that." Then another, "We're coming." My stomach dropped. Detective Harris saw my face pale. "Emily, what's wrong?" I handed her the phone. Her jaw tightened. "Stay here." She stepped out of the room. 5 minutes passed. Then 10. Then she returned, face serious. "We need to move you to a secure area. Now." "What's happening?" "There's an unregistered vehicle circling the parking lot, the same one connected to an incident report filed last month." My mouth went dry. "Whose car?" She hesitated, then said, "Laura S." My heart seized. Before I could react, the station doors burst open. Voices shouted in the lobby. Detectives ran past the interview room. I stood, fear ripping through me, but before I could move, Detective Harris grabbed my shoulders. "Emily, look at me. You're safe. Stay behind me." Footsteps thundered down the hall. "Emily," a voice screamed. Daniel, his voice was broken, wild, terrified. "Emily, don't do this. You don't know what SHES." His words cut off sharply. A crash, a shout, a scuffle. Detective Harris raised her hand, telling me not to move. Then, finally, the hallway went silent. After a long minute, another officer appeared. "We have both of them in custody," he said. "It's over." Daniel and Laura, I sank into the chair, my entire body shaking. Detective Harris sat across from me again. "Emily, you just saved yourself, and your son." My eyes filled. "Is Noah safe? Is Evan with him?" She smiled. "I already called the number you gave us. They're on their way here with an escort." A wave of relief washed over me so strong I nearly collapsed. An hour later, Evan rushed in carrying Noah, awake now, scared but unharmed. "Mom!" he cried, running into my arms. I held him so tightly I could barely breathe. Evan stood beside us, his eyes soft but burning with protective fire. "It's over?" he asked. "Not yet," I whispered. "But we're safe." He nodded. "Good, because I'm not going anywhere." For the first time in days, maybe months, I felt the weight lift from my chest. Daniel was arrested. Laura was arrested. Jenna was safe. Evidence was secured. Noah was protected. And I was free. As I stepped out of the police station, holding my son's hand with Evan walking beside us, the morning sun broke through the clouds. It felt symbolic, like the world was saying, "You survived, you fought, you won." And I whispered, quiet but firm, "I'm done letting other people write my story." I opened the car door, helped Noah inside, and looked at Evan. "What happens now?" I asked. He smiled gently. "Now, you rebuild." I exhaled. A long, cleansing breath. "Yes," I said, "I do." And with that we drove away, not broken, not scared, not defeated, but reborn.